like 11 in the morning.
So we'll be able to watch in your class and let us.
If they lose, they play at 11. If they win, they play at like 5 or
And
something.
lose, we'll come and go.
Are you really?
So you guys be energized once and last time, like once a month.
I mean, we can win.
It's going to be a dogfight. I'm excited. I like close games.
Last
We
night,
got
too,
Friday's
Lina,
game.
What?
Boys.
Yeah. We're on to baseball, right, Kaysen? Trent?
I love this.
Kaysen, right? Yeah, well, yeah. Do you not play baseball?
I do, just 2 weeks. Not now.
I won my bet with you.
Oh, Derek needed a score. Oh, he missed a lot of layups.
I won my bet.
I think I'm doing track though.
You are?
Why?
Wait,
What are you going to do in track? You're not
I
fast.
know.
I'm not doing any, I'm doing like the jumps and stuff.
how are you
Oh.
doing track and baseball?
You can do both. Sam did both.
I did both.
That seems a
By
little
that I mean
too
I
much
took
for me.
Stat.
Hey!
There's a difference.
I ran one race and we won.
Yeah? You were like the 4x100?
Five.
It was the 4x4.
You did the 4x4, you were kidding.
Listen, my grade still holds that.
No,
Hey,
it doesn't.
you want her?
I think your name's not.
I told them all I did. Hey, they all laughed at me. They said, "Did you do track?" And I did. But guess what I did? I just took stats. By that I mean I sat in a lawn chair and ate sunflower seeds.
Dad, if
But
you're
I did-
still on the record.
I'm not on it. My grade is.
Like, you barely told me your name was on the record.
We don't care about that,
Well, we do.
because that was a long
Oh,
time ago.
hey, but I took stats.
We did play quite.
That's probably why you won.
Do we have the 11 you sign up for any baseball?
We need to.
Like today, while I'm in school.
Okay.
Go up to state bank, see what's in the account, have any else get signed up, and figure out which ones you want to commit to.
Okay.
Okay? We need to get maybe today or tomorrow after school.
Yeah.
Tomorrow after school work, okay for you?
Yep.
Okay, tomorrow after school, that's it.
Okay.
Okay.
So your grade holds the record, just not you.
It's our school record. Yeah, they won state. But we were in region. No, the meet before region. We had a chance to win the meet as a boys team, except for one of our 4x400 meter guys was sick.
So like,
then
almost
you
like
had
the
to step
state
in.
goes-
But I was so bad. But they were so good. Like
They
there was,
so bad they gave you a Lopez.
they were. But we had 2 kids that placed in the top 3 in the state in the 400. So we had 2. If you have 2 kids that are that good at it, you're gonna win it.
So you did win?
Yeah, they won it that year.
Wait, you
State.
didn't run? I'm so confused.
No, I only ran once of the 10 times we ran it.
And did you guys win?
Oh,
that
you didn't
time?
run
Yeah.
on state.
You still.
Well, it was easy because those 2, like the first guy was like get you like a 30-second lead, not that big, but it was like 10 seconds, which in track is a lot. And then the last guy he ran like a 50-second 400. So he actually ran at Weber State.
What are we gonna do down the lane?
Nope.
Have you seen that kid from Washington State?
I don't know, but there was.
He's crushing all the NCAA
I
records.
went and did it. Just I didn't go to all the meets to do stats. I just went to a few. I remember the home one, and I sat there. By that I mean I didn't really do anything. I just went there. I didn't really take stats. I don't remember taking like anything down. I just remember sitting there in a lawn chair and eating sunflower seeds. That's it.
Wait, did you really have that amount?
I don't know.
But we had kids like Coach Brown was a tremendous track athlete. We had kids that were really, really good at this. Okay, 11-2. Okay, so let's go through and read this thing real quick. It says, in the same circle or in congruent circles, 2 minor arcs are congruent if and only if they're corresponding. Chords are congruent. So what that means is this. If we have 2 chords inside of a circle that are congruent, meaning those lengths. So from F to G, the chord F to G is congruent to chord JH. Then the arcs that those chords make are also congruent. But of course that makes sense, right? Inside of a circle, if I have a line that's 3 and another line that's 3, another chord that's 3, those arcs have to be the same. Okay, so if the chords are the same, then the arcs are also the same. Okay, next theorem. Everyone good on that one? Okay, here we go. I gotta get this one. This is gonna be a little bit tougher to get in position here. And it might even been my junior year I ran.
Did they chant your name when you started to run?
No,
They're like, hey,
they probably were like, "Oh, we're gonna lose."
You were just killing yourself varsity and stuff when they called you up for the race.
Yeah, but I think it might have been I can't remember if it was my junior year, but it was
Were you
only
so-
one
Were you
race.
so scared when they did that?
Yeah, but I just remember getting told, just run hard.
wait, did you actually bring like running shoes or were you running?
I just had like tennis shoes.
Oh.
You want spikes or anything?
I don't know what that means.
Spikes?
What are spikes?
There's tennis shoes with spikes in them.
Oh, they're so light. I want to take a pair of them.
They're so nice. Are we doing both of these?
Yep, both of them.
If you think about it,
God, it might
I
have been
think
my.
it's very fair. Because you can be giant and like get over it really easy and get super high.
I might even been my sophomore year. I just
That's
remember.
what
I just remember running one time in high
That's what I'm
school.
saying, like that is different than comparing it to someone that's like 7 feet
But then I
tall.
also, I went to that last one that I went to, these girls were so much fun.
Do you think that
They jump, and I was like,
is?
That's what
I
I'm
just
saying,
remember
like,
running the
if
400
you're
one
short,
time
girl,
in high school. Might even been my
Just like
sophomore year.
jumping.
Like if you're short and you can jump as high as a tall girl, it's almost better. Even though it's not as a light.
I played baseball. I didn't do track. I wasn't. I was okay speed, but not fast enough. I was okay strong, but couldn't throw it far enough. I could jump pretty good, but I couldn't jump high enough. I was I would have been a consistent like 6th place no matter what I did.
You should come help us this year's try.
Absolutely not.
Should I do track or get a job?
You could probably do both.
Do you want to
I
r-
have a job in the gym.
My thing about track,
I might just go twice a week.
I like jumping sometimes,
Yeah.
except for it hurts to land. Coach Brown, did you know he would have broke he was like, you have to ask him, but I think he was like 3 inches short of breaking the state record in long jump when he was a junior. And then he sprained his ankle extremely bad right before his senior year and never got back up to his mark, but still took state in long
Maybe
jump.
move the tracks records. They're like in the weirdest spot right by that hole. Yeah, it's like, no one even, I didn't even.
But yeah, if you look on there, you'll see my class on there with the 4x4. You'll see, like, I think Andy Heaton was the real good one. David Mason was on there. Curtis Roundy, the dentist, was on there. Of course, he liked pain, so he ran that.
Sid run like a mile.
I wish we would have like our like more notable like wins. So like all the state trophies need to be in one like track, like one area so you can see
Second.
all of them.
Like first, second.
Seconds have their own, or like
We
like
have a
you
lot
put
of
all of them
seconds.
like, and then all the school records or state records that we hold, like have it on like a big like
That's
its
what our
own-
school should do, like the reps should,
That's what Millard does. Millard has a really cool thing for that.
I
Have
know,
you
like,
seen
it holds
it?
it out in front where everyone can see, like, you walk by, you're like, oh, like, it's noticeable.
we need to redo the track one, that's what we should do for
What?
Like, you know how like you like have to do stuff.
There's no room for it.
What about how many times Sam Hamlin's on there? Judas.
I know, yeah. But like, it's like in the weirdest spot in the hall.
Sam Hamlin's on there like 6 times, isn't she? She was a
has
year.
She has the.
She's a
long
year older
jump-
than I am.
Long jump, and then I think she has the hurdles.
Alan Orton holds our long jumping boys, I know, because that was the kid that Brandon almost beat. And we're like, oh, he's going to beat it this year. He long jumped like 22 feet.
Wade or Allen? Wade
Alan.
22.
I think, oh, maybe it was
I think it
Wade.
was Wade.
But, I mean, you're jumping 22 feet long jump. Do you know how long that is?
This is wrong.
I just remember after he did it, as a junior, our seminary teacher, we walked in, and our seminary teacher laid out like what 22 feet was in our class. I don't know, weird things you remember as a kid. And I remember he's like, this is what Brandon jumped yesterday in track. And I'm like, and I remember sitting there like in the front row, being like, goodness gracious. I was even there and I didn't realize it. He would only jump like once, get it, and then just be done. No one else is getting like 16. He's jumping 22. Everyone's making fun of him.
I feel like the seniors should be able to come back and get it. Seniors are doing everything last
Well, they can blame their parents for having it.
Oh yeah, did you know that like college athletes are getting an extra year?
Yeah,
That's so cool.
no,
Oh.
It's almost like, I don't know.
not cool at all.
If you did, let's say I didn't play football or any sports my senior year, I could redo my senior year. Just say you have like a learning disability or something like that, and what you play your senior year.
That is. You can do that.
You could, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that would be good.
Okay,
Oh wait, we have to put the.
both of them.
Get both of them.
I'm just gonna start talking here for a minute. Hey, so this is very important. This theorem right here, you're gonna see a lot of. So everyone be quiet just for a second here. This theorem right here, you're gonna see a lot of. If a diameter or a chord, if a diameter or a radius intersects a chord and does it perpendicularly, meaning a diameter and a chord intersect at 90 degrees, then it does two things. One, it cuts the chord in half, meaning the diameter will cut the chord in half, like down here, where you can see that that diameter right here cut that chord in half. Okay? It also cuts the arc in half. So we know that XB would equal BY. Alright? We know that. Yeah, so that's it. If a diameter or a radius perpendicularly intersects a chord, then it bisects the chord and the arc, meaning it cuts the chord and the arc in half. All right, any questions on that one? But, okay, finish writing it down. I think we got one more to cover. Okay, we're going to go to the last one. Here we go.
Can we go back to like 2 minutes?
No, just copy. And then we can go back after. Just leave a little bit of room. It may have been, when I ran that, it may have been just in practice, the more I think about it. It might not have been in a competition. Long time ago. I just remember running it and remember thinking, I have to do it.
If it was in practice, why didn't it matter?
I don't know. Maybe they were like saying, maybe I wanted to be like, I want to do something actually. And they're like, you want to not try to run this 400? And after that, I'm like, because that's all I ever did. So maybe afterwards I was like, not for
Why
me.
didn't you do like shot
I told you, I would have been like a middle tier guy. I'd have been like I would have been like a 5th, 6th, 8th place.
So I didn't.
Because I just didn't like it. I liked baseball. I really, really liked baseball. All my buddies did track though, and I always felt bad because I wasn't very good at it. They would always come back real tan. Cade was white. Just pale. Looked like he was sick.
Looks like he has a lot of the basic things, or something.
You didn't get tan from baseball?
Well, baseball, not a lot shows in the sun.
You have a farmer's tan.
Yeah, you have, from here down I looked real good until,
Last year it was not so very track. There's maybe one time.
You didn't have a track season.
A little bit.
Trent probably does track. Shattered records. Who holds our school record for the 100?
It's that girl from like, she's crazy. She runs on.
I
she
can't
runs like
remember her
a
name.
11.
What about the boys? I don't even know that.
I don't know.
Probably somebody from a long time ago.
Yeah, I've been playing it for a while.
If you run the mile, you're effed up. I'm sorry, but like, I once
Like, how
ran
do
the
you
mile.
always do that?
I ran the mile in
It's like a
8th grade.
mindset.
That was
I
awful.
can't.
I hit the third lap and I just walked before class. Everyone already lapped me. I was like, screw it. This is awful.
He just stops and just,
I don't understand sprinting. I would fall on my face. But how do you like keep going with like stamina? Like, I
rumor is Tyson Brinkroff can do it this year, huh? He could maybe compete at
He
state.
probably could. He's really good cross country.
I've been trying to talk that kid into playing football, but he's like, I'm a cross-country runner. Tyson Brinkroff.
Yeah, I was just
He
asking
takes
you
it very
football.
seriously, yeah. His name is Nathan. I saw them running next to him. Yeah.
God, they could get real, that's gonna be a real good deal there for the school, having those two in the distance. That's gonna help out our points. Trav, you play track, don't you? Is it play track? Yeah, what do you do, Trent?
No, I don't.
What about if you're a thrower? What is that?
You basically do like 400 meters.
Oh, I thought you did like 800.
No,
No.
What do you do?
I don't even know.
Travis is sprint.
Travis is gonna be a sprinter. I'm a sprinter. Better than I sprint from my door to the couch.
Ruby, are you gonna do that? I don't know.
Eric, you gonna do track?
I'm gonna put surgeon.
You can throw. Lane does track.
I don't know. It doesn't last.
Lane, you look like a guy that'd be a tremendous, like, what's that spear throwing competition?
Oh, javelin.
Lane, you look like a
I wanna
javelin
do
thrower.
javelin.
No, do you do
My
javelin?
brother when she was in high school, some girl threw it and hit the dude. I was keeping score.
You ever watch their feet work on that
He
thing?
was looking at his clipboard.
I'm on a track tangent today. I love watching their feet work on javelin. They're like,
I know, it
I
is.
tell them, like,
Honestly, I would
Yeah,
love
you
to.
have to like grunt to do it too. No. Yeah.
that and shot put. I love watching the Olympic shot put when the guys, I mean, you can't even see the ball. It's engulfed inside of the side of their head and their hand.
How
You
about
can't see it.
those
It's just-
women that throw the shot put? Oh my gosh, those are some great.
What about the guys are like 310 pounds and they're
And then spin.
Have you ever seen the girls who throw?
yeah, you wouldn't want to get punched.
No. I wouldn't want to like be buying them.
But, okay, more chords, more arcs. I got dizzy. One spin. Okay, in the same circle or congruent circles, two chords are congruent. Now this word right here is kind of a new word. What does equidistant mean?
Equal.
Equal distant. So if the chords are equal distant away from the center, then the chords are the same size. Once again, if the chords are equal distant away from the center, then the chords are the same size. Alright? So if XL equals YL, then chord FG is the same as chord JH. But based on the first theorem we learned today, if the chords are the same, what do we know about these two little arcs? They're the same too, right? So this theorem right here kind of brings it all together. If the chords are equal distant away from the center, then the chords are the same and the arcs are the same. Any questions on any of those theorems? Okay, I want to do something just a tiny bit different today. You guys can copy down later. I want to actually go to your homework. I'm actually going to pull up two problems directly off your homework here. Maddie, are you done?
Yeah.
So should I go to my
No, don't go to your Chromebook yet. I'm going to open up and I'm going to do two problems off your homework today. Okay, I want these copied down inside your journal. Jason. Noah, you do track, right?
I gotta work at 2 jobs, 2, 3.
I kind of just feel like working at making
It's important.
Do it.
Okay, here we go.
Years and you're broken, you have to pay $5,000 in housing, $5,000 in tuition, and you're just like, oh no.
Oh crap, this is real.
No.
She's like, well, you can work like the rest of your life. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that's what I
realize I'm
heard.
almost a junior. And
And now I have no
I
money.
want this copied down.
And I'm going to college.
That's a Y, a V, a S, a T, a R, a W, a U, and a Q. I want this isn't a mark, that's just my thumbprint right there. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to do this problem today is because I know that you're going to see this today and think that doesn't look anything like those things we copied on the side of our journals. Believe it or not, these actually are very similar. Because these are, if you think about it, first off, what's the center of the circle? What is it? It is Z. So if Z is the center, we know that ZY, what is ZY? ZY, what's the line ZY? What's the name of it? If Z is the center of that circle, ZY would be the radius, right? Which also means that ZW is the radius. Okay, now we learned a couple things, even though our picture doesn't look like it, but remember, we don't trust the picture, we trust our math. If a radius is perpendicular to a chord, what do we know about this chord? What does that radius do to this chord? Splits it in half. So we know based upon that, and remember, we don't trust the picture, we know that that is equal to that. Right? We know that. What do we know up here? We know that this is equal to this. Just based upon that one theorem. Now, over here, it tells us that QR is 16. Well, we already know a couple things. If QR is 16, what's TS? 16, right? Well, look right here. It says that TV is 8. So we know VS has to be 8. Right? Because those are bisected. It's cut in half. All right, so let's go through this. The things it wants us to find. It wants us to find X and U, Z. So it wants us to find that. This is actually going to be a little bit hard. Okay, here we go. All right, so first thing is it tells us that SV is 2x plus 4. So right here is 2x plus 4. Where? V.
Wouldn't that have to be 2 because you want it
Yep.
equal to 8?
Because TV is 8, to be able to find X, we can just go 2x plus 4 equals 8. Because each one of these little sections right here are the same, so we know X is going to equal 2. Now, the part that they ask us is UZ. So they actually want to know, and we're going to call UZ Y. So they want us, well, we already have a Y, so we'll just call it UZ. So UZ right here. All right, so I need some ideas here. We're going to have to come up with a couple ideas to better get this. The things they tell us that QR is 16. So we know what each one of these is. What is the measure of each one of these? 8. I'm just going to jot it down. Well, look, oh my goodness. Is this easy? No way. It doesn't tell us the radius, but we don't need it. Oh, it tells us that VZ is 3.5. Well, if VZ is 3.5, remember, if the chords are the same length, then they're the same distance from the center. Right? So we know that this chord right here is 16. We know that this one's 16. Well, it tells us that from V to Z is 3.5, so from U to Z has to be 3.5. It's easy. That easy. I actually thought it was going to ask us to do Pythagorean theorem, but it doesn't. Okay? That's it. That's all you're going to be doing today on your homework. Here, come grab my book.
Or just copy off mine. No.
Enterprise